Hey, HappiDaze here. In today's video, we are doing the last day of Grand Party. So as I mentioned yesterday, not really feeling too good about this day. We'll see how it ends up going. But for the first match, 3 burst captains. I was almost going to take on that, and Luffy decided not to. Figured, you know what? I know the first team here is a quick team. We have our pretty bulked up Dex team here. We can use that to kind of make sure that we can go hopefully quick enough where Kizaru won't even be able to go. I did keep the Kaido as my leader just because he'll give a bunch of buffs, including CT and defense powerhouse. And this team has a bunch of powerhouse units on it, right? So it just kind of really helps not only this team, but the Int team as well. So I figured, okay, first battle, as long as I can get him where he doesn't get his burst gauge charge more than, say, 70-80%, then I can pretty much get a good idea that I can win this on the second play without him having to use one special. That's why I chose this burst captain instead of the others. So that being said, it's going pretty well so far. We did take a couple hits, which means that his gauge is charged. You can see the upper right hand corner, it's pretty full, but still we know that once I use the Kaido special, I can pretty much just give them no chance to get any more damage, which means that they basically stop the ability to fill up their burst gauge, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So at this point, actually, I thought I was going to originally use it, but I think I'm going to actually save it, because if I use it now, then I won't have the second fight, right? And that will kind of definitely allow them to use their burst before I get mine off. So smarter idea just to save it. Like I said, we were able to kind of take out the scene with the advantage, so not really too much issues there. On their third slot, we probably know that that's probably the Dex team, just based on Kizaru. Sometimes they put them in kind of random teams, but at least for this first fight, we're going to submit the Dex team in the third slot, so we're going to move our Int team to the second slot. Also because they have a lot of survivability, right? If they kill the Roger or the Yamato, we get the death shot there on top of the burst gauge. You got to play a little bit of a game here. Obviously, Kaido's burst gets kicked off when you have 2 enemies, or does a force out when you have 2 enemies that have a 99% special or higher. So basically, we're not worried really about Uta because she just boosts CT for people on the team. But really, we want to stop that Luffy and that Kuma, even that Kaido from going. Either one of those will get his burst gauge charged. So we're kind of playing a little bit of game where we're just kind of monitoring the special CT limit. And when we see that, for example, Kuma's going to go, as he's going to go right after Uta, we're going to just go ahead and use our special to prevent Kuma from going and just doing a ton of damage and filling up the rest of their burst gauge. You can see it works out pretty perfectly. We had most of our units ready to go anyway. Unfortunately, Roger there only did his burst to one person. But with the 3 units here, even if we have to take a burst from Kizaru, it'll instantly recharge our burst, and we can just use it and win. So at this point, there's nothing that we can do to really lose this first battle of the final day, so it's good. You like to see that. For some reason, it seems like that first battle of the last day is always against burst captains. I haven't had any luck in probably the last 3 or 4 seasons. With it being a rare recruit for the first fight of the last day. So little way to start sweating for the first match of the day, but hey, sometimes it is what it is. You kind of take things as they go. You can see we did take the burst from Kizaru there. Luckily, we were able to hold on pretty well, which is good. You'd love to see that, and get the victory right there. So boom, there we go. First win of the day done. Let's see how the second and third matches are going to go. For the second match of the day here, let's see who we have. So Shakes and both the Elder up the top there, don't really want to mess with them. They actually have pretty good burst ability, so figure we'll go ahead and face Uta. Kind of thought that because it's Uta up the lead and she is shooter, that this is probably auto-generated teams. So basically we swapped out our shooter team that we had ready to go for the last fight with this anti-shooter team to be able to just make sure that we can kind of take on this first battle, kill them. So this Uta here, it's the Sai Uta. She does have a burst gauge. It doesn't really do too much. It really does a big boost to shooter characters and does some paralysis and defense half stats, I mean. But nothing kind of really too crazy. So I'm like, okay, with the ability to have the anti-shooter team take out their front team without any problems, even if she is able to use 2 specials in fight number 2, it should be more than enough to get through this without having too many issues here. So that's the benefit when you don't see teams. Knowing who the leader is can kind of give you an idea of where the teams are. So this second battle is more of just kind of a sacrificial battle. If it was an actual set of teams, kind of the team that would eat up a bunch of bursts if this was not a random generated team. So pretty much worst case, we'll wipe them out pretty quickly, and if they manage to do enough damage to get our burst gauge charged, then boom, we'll just use burst, and that will end this fight right here. Nothing kind of too crazy here on this team that you have to really worry about. Again, that's why we say to set the teams to auto-gen at the end of the day, just so everyone can have a chance to get the 15 wins, get the max rewards. You like to help people out with the community strategy there. So at this point, everyone's just about ready to go. Once Ace or Kaido go, it'll pretty much be over. Big Mom's just running some half stats too, which obviously is going to help us get through these guys much quicker. Ace comes out, knocks out 2 people. Again, we took the shot there. We got our burst gauge charged. No reason not to use it, just because we can kind of speed up these fights, make the last day a little bit quicker, and then hopefully move on to that final match of the last day. See if we can kind of eke out 15 out of 15 wins and get out of the season relatively unscathed. Kind of surprised I haven't seen many full Elder teams out here, considering how prevalent they are in regular Rumble, but that's good for us. We'll definitely take that and get one step closer. So let's see what battle number 3 has in store for us. See if we get 15 out of 15. Alright, so for the last fight of the day, we're going to face Adofi and Sugar Captain. They are a mixed unit. I believe they're mostly quick, if I remember correctly, so we're going to go ahead and take on that first team there. We swapped out the anti-shooter team for our regular shooter team, just because we know with the captain rule set that we have for Kaido, we'll get an increased boost for shooters, so just make sure that they can go really quickly and get through this content. Huge shout out to both the AS member and Sus that you saw here for switching their leader to a non-burst in the day. Huge shout out, thank you, that's awesome, love the community strategy. I will do the same once my matches are done for the day. And we'll just kind of go through. See, Kuma does a bunch of shots, but he actually really doesn't kill anyone, which is kind of shocking with how potent his special is, but that's okay. Really, we have a level 150 Luffy Lucci. When he goes, he's just going to wipe out just a bunch of people and put us in a good shot. And plus, if we take some damage here, it's not the end of the world, right? We can go ahead and use that to get our burst gauge charged. We got about a quarter charged. While I was going through here, I was actually originally thinking of swapping the Int and the Dex team, but then I was like, you know what? If I would have done the Int team, I would have been going for the Death Throat kill there, but then if something went wrong, I would have my Dex team in the 3rd slot, and if they had, for example, like a Strength team, I didn't want to risk anything there. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to keep Dex team in slot number 2. If they win, great. If they don't, then it's not the end of the world. But basically, we'll have these guys out here. They'll do a bunch of damage, and if they do happen to get a bunch of specials off, we'll have our burst gauge charge here, right? So obviously the S-Hawk is the biggest worry here. If you do the damage to the defense. Luckily with the Bizarro, we were able to get the special bind on him, so that kind of eliminates really the big threats on their side of the field, which is great. Love to see that. So now we're basically just waiting for Ace, Kaido, Big Mom to go, and once they go, it's pretty much game over at that point. They won't even be able to get one of their specials off. So at this point, I feel confident that I can just skip. We had a fully maxed out team there, nothing to really worry about with type advantage, and boom, we're able to get 15 out of 15 wins, bring us to a perfect score for this season, and this wraps up this season. So this season was definitely very interesting with the rule sets. Obviously, I don't think I really saw any Blackbeard pirate captains there, so really just the Mythical Zone or the World Government leaders that you saw there. But another fun season. Let me know in the comments section below how your season went. Were you able to get 15 out of 15? Was there any surprises they got out of the season? We'd love to hear from you guys. So as always, until next time, be kind to each other. Thanks.